Hello everybody, hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports talk, guys. Breaking down an insane theory from a lawyer out there. Again, thanks to all of you guys who send me these videos. If you guys don't, I probably don't make a video like this one. I've already punched holes in several theories out there for being outlandish and weird and highly unlikely. Let's be frank about it. This one is probably not any different, but a very interesting perspective when we bring a law firm and a lawyer into it to explain his insane perspective and theory on about potentially what could happen with Twitch and Dr. Disrespect and why they are permanently banning him from their platform. I will link his full video down below, guys. I would say pretty informative from a different perspective about what possibly could be going on, but it is still fairly crazy, and I would say, in my opinion, unlikely to happen as well. What he claims to be Twitch either made aware of or maybe brought something back to light that they could use against Doc to put him in breach of his contract and thus not have to pay out millions and millions of dollars to him, and thus freeing up more capital for them to pick up other streamers that are now available, that being potentially Ninja and Shroud. He further adds to this theory being that with the Mixer shutdown, Twitch might be going, okay, since that, our main competition, yes, YouTube is there, but Doc is probably not going to YouTube. I cannot confirm that, obviously, but as they see Mixer shut down and those exclusive deals go with them, with Ninja and Shroud, Twitch might be thinking, okay, we're still stuck paying Dr. Disrespect millions and millions, as to what the Doc himself even hinted at being a contract upwards close to the Mixer deal amounts, if not more than that. And so this lawyer's perspective from Hogue Law is actually saying maybe Twitch is bringing to light some old stuff or has been made aware of some new stuff they're going to use against Doc, leverage against him to breach his contract and not pay him out the millions of dollars. So hear me out. This is pure speculation. I personally don't think this is true for a variety of reasons out there, but it's still a very interesting theory to break down. And the first thing he talks about is the many ways that guidelines and terms of service on Twitch can be broken and thus potentially give a reason for the contract to be breached on Doc's behalf. He also goes on to talk about, yes, when it comes time for pornographic content, that is a breaking of the terms of service and the guidelines there on Twitch. It's not been fully enforced. Ironically enough, we talked about this yesterday with that crazy Twitch lawsuit brought against Twitch for female suggestive content. Remember when Pokimane showed that content on our stream and received a warning? Well, for others, that could actually be Twitch's angle to go against them with their contracts and remove them for the platform. He continues to go on. It could not only be pornographic content, it could be obscene or objectionable content. I have no idea if Doc has done those kind of things that actually would go into those bounds, but he claims there are a variety of ways that Dr. Disrespect could have and unfortunately could be in breach of that giant contract.
And I can't speak to the specific language used in these kinds of agreements, but in one of these documents, what you will have is an agreement by Dr. Disrespect or whomever you're signing this exclusivity arrangement with to agree to abide by your policies and procedures, including your terms of service and your community guidelines. That will just be a covenant, a promise in that document that he enters into. And it's basically a baseline for any of these kinds of things. So if you can point to a breach of one of these documents, chances are you can also point to the termination right you have in your exclusivity arrangement. You can get out of a relationship that you now find more problematic than you did 2 weeks ago, and maybe you free up those resources to sign up those people that are now free unexpectedly as of Microsoft's closure of Mixer. So you go through these terms and conditions. You're the lawyer for Twitch. You've been ordered by the boss to say, hey, okay, let's find something that is potentially problematic. Here are the whispers of his behavior. Here's what he did at E3 last year. Here's some other things that have happened that have caused us trouble. What can you find? You also agree not to put up anything obscene or pornographic. We've talked about that. That's what we talked about last week. Or otherwise objectionable to Twitch. Now, you might remember that Kotaku reported on Dr. Disrespect saying things about coronavirus, saying things about potential conspiracy theories about the origination and the movement of that virus. Maybe that's otherwise objectionable to Twitch. Twitch can just terminate you for whenever it decides it's a legitimate business reason. If you now cost more than they think you're worth, then they can bring a termination under this section, and then you can sue them over it. And you might, if it's worth millions of dollars to you. But if you sue them over it, it's going to be a problem. because you also agreed to certain things.
And I think by far and away the most important piece of information brought to light in this video is what Twitch has in their own guidelines if this does involve a third party. Yes, it still could be a criminal case. There still could be serious accusations and allegations against the doc himself, but maybe not in this case. It could be between Twitch and only Dr. Disrespect, which is what a lot of people are hoping for in a contractual or legal dispute of some sort, because if it does involve a third party, Twitch in their own guidelines does state they actually have to put a more reasonable effort into notifying you as to what that reason was, which according to Dr. Disrespect in his only tweet so far, he was not notified as to why.
So we also know, just based on what we can see in these documents, that we aren't probably talking about a civil claim, a third-party claim against Dr. Disrespect or against Twitch, because this is the kind of thing where, at bare minimum, this last sentence, Twitch will use reasonable efforts to notify you of the nature of that claim, wouldn't make sense with what Dr. Disrespect has said, wouldn't really make sense with what Twitch has said about what has happened here, and so we probably aren't looking at an actual legal action from a third party. Possibly a criminal action, again, because this isn't exactly what would relate to a criminal action. This is talking about civil action, liability for dollars. But it's probably not that, because Twitch would have additional notification requirements. It's also...
And then when it comes to solving a dispute with Twitch, if there is a dispute, there has to be some sort of informal resolve. And before it goes to further arbitration, which would occur in California, which also both these things could have to be confidential, which would explain why both Doc and Twitch have only issued a single statement so far. So again, it could be between just the Twitch, just the Doc and Twitch.
Go when we actually look at how to resolve disputes with Twitch. You see here in their terms of service that you and Twitch agree to arbitrate any dispute arising from these terms of service or your use of the Twitch services. You and Twitch further agree to attempt informal resolution prior to any demand for arbitration. So if there is a dispute, if we imagine that Twitch has gone and said, we think that you violated this provision of our terms of service or our community guidelines, we are using that to terminate your exclusive arrangement. You aren't going to get this $25 million. That Twitch says, we're terminating your agreement for X, Y, and Z. Dr. Disrespect says, no, that's not a breach. And then they point to this sentence in the terms of service, which are incorporated by reference, almost undoubtedly in the exclusivity agreement. And you come up and you say, okay, fine, we have to try to informally resolve this, which means we get on a Zoom call, which means we go to a meeting, whatever it might be, before anybody demands arbitration. And then if arbitration is demanded, look at this next part. Any arbitration will occur in Santa Clara County, California, which may or may not be viable in the age of coronavirus here. And that arbitration will be conducted confidentially, right? By a single arbitrator in accordance with the rules of JAMS, which is an arbitration association, which means that in all likelihood, the parties would also agree that the informal resolution process should be treated confidentially. And if we are in that scenario right now, then this is exactly what you would expect in terms of notifications.
And then very lastly, on top of what we talked about earlier, that being a variety of ways you can get yourself in trouble with Twitch through all of their terms of service and all of their guidelines that potentially could be broken. He brings to light a great point of very general and broad Twitch terms where they actually have the right, reserve the right to ban anyone at any time for anything or any conduct that they deem inappropriate or harmful.
So if Twitch wants to get out of that contract, if they decide, whoa, this week was too hard on us, Dr. Disrespect is probably going to be a time bomb on this service, we're paying him too much money, we can use that money to buy Ninja and Shroud, what are we even doing, folks? You say, well, we can just point to this in the community guidelines. We reserve the right to suspend any account for any conduct that we personally determine to be inappropriate. And who wouldn't say that Dr. Disrespect is inappropriate in certain ways, right? That's almost his shtick. That's almost his deal, as being inappropriate. That's how he got his fan base. That's how he got his audience. And so, yeah, you can start to speculate about breaking the law or self-destructive behavior, violence, threats, harassment, hateful conduct. And maybe some or all of that is a part of the story. But basically, Twitch has reserved for itself the right to get rid of anyone that it itself determines, not even reasonably, right? The lawyers on the other side might look at this and say, hey, you have to reasonably determine that. Nope, I can be as unreasonable as I like. We have just determined, Dr. Disrespect, that you are inappropriate or harmful to this service. We are thereby terminating that exclusivity, at which point Dr. Disrespect's agents and lawyers say, the heck you are? What are you even talking about, Twitch? and then maybe Twitch brings up some evidence it has of some wrongdoing, some problems, but you have this informal resolution process. You try to decide how this thing is going to go. And I believe, speculative of course, that what we have seen so far on this particular story leads to that kind of understanding of the situation. I believe we are more likely looking at a contract dispute, which could foundationally be about some kind of legal dispute or harassment or something along those lines. But Twitch probably doesn't have enough evidence or standing to actually bring that out in a tweet or otherwise to adjudicate it across the public. So what they are trying to do is leverage their contract terms against Dr. Disrespect using what could absolutely be inappropriate or harmful behavior that they actually truthfully believe happened in the past, and all because Twitch now finds itself in a situation where they can no longer afford, from a public relations standpoint, to be affiliated with people that tarnish their quote-unquote good name.
So this still could be anything, guys. This could be between Doc and Twitch. This could be contractual. This could be legal. This could be some sort of harassment case. Maybe Twitch does not have enough evidence to come forth with that as of right now, and maybe they are resolving it or trying to behind the scenes and keeping that confidential. I just wanted to share with you guys, it's still insane theory, right? My first thoughts on this, curious what you guys think about as well, to punch some holes in this theory, is the fact that if Twitch was trying to dig up or use something in the past against Doc, maybe it wouldn't eventually come out, but it seems a bit disingenuous, and eventually rumblings would go around and other streamers might be like, okay, am I ever safe to use this platform if Twitch is willing to dig up things I have done in my past, which they deemed were okay then? They didn't warn me, they didn't ban me for it then, but then they dig it up again in the future to, void me of my contract. Would any Twitch streamer feel safe about that? On top of that, the lawyer does bring up some points I don't necessarily agree with, that being Twitch possibly trying to get rid of Doc because he has tarnished their brand or name. I think he might be alluding to the fact that if new evidence was brought in and new accusations were brought in, then yeah, obviously if Twitch knows stuff that we do not, it could be to that serious nature where they want to separate themselves from Doc. That does make sense. Now, if there was not new information, if it was old stuff in the past that we are all well aware that Dr. Disrespect has done, he is still one of the biggest faces, I would argue the biggest face on Twitch, and I think a far majority of people out there are not offended by him being a part of the Twitch platform and are a fan of it as well. So I'm not really sure how much that holds, and again, context does matter when talking about those things. At the end of the day, do I believe in the theory that Twitch is trying to bring up some old stuff to leverage against Doc and breach his contract and not pay him out millions just so they can bring in Ninja and Shroud? No. Do I think it's some new, serious allegations and knowledge they know of, that even though Dr. Disrespect was not made aware of exactly why he was banned, that he probably knows why he was banned? I think that's more likely. I will keep you all posted. Just want to say a quick thank you for all the support again, guys. I know I've been thanking you guys a lot. We've been really stressed over here, and so thank you for all the kind comments, all the DMs. It does keep me motivated. I am getting my sleep, okay? You guys I'm getting plenty of sleep. Until next time, take care. You know what to do. Drink that water, drink that coffee. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon.